Hello and welcome to the beautiful Gothic city of Kocise, which plays host to the 6th IAAF VSZ World Half Marathon Championships. Kocise is the centre of the Slovakian Republic, lying a few kilometres from the Tatra Mountains and the Danube River. It also hosts the Peace Marathon, which takes part after this event. There you see some of the main men taking part in the event. Moses Tanui there with a world best performance of 59.47 seconds leading the group. That was set back in '93 in Milan. Competitors now just getting ready. Very strong Spanish team. One of the Italian competitors there just having a few moments of relaxation before this race gets underway. 45 countries taking part. 145 athletes in the men's event, and there's last year's winner and the Italian team, which broke the stranglehold really on the Kenyan dominance of this event. The Kenyans have won every event up until last year. The Italians decided it wasn't going to be their time, and they took the title in '96. Stefano Baldini there, number 71, the reigning champion. Very strong Italian team, but they're up against it really, because I think the Kenyans now want to get the title back again. Athletes have been waiting out there in conditions which are almost perfect here. Fairly cool, 15 or 16 degrees in the morning. Sun is coming up, but for the half marathon it shouldn't cause too many problems. The Spanish team there, after seeing their compatriots do so well in the World Marathon Championships, are now up against it in the half marathon. Adan, Gomez, Serrano, De La Torre and Pena in their lineup. Train together, work together, and hopefully today will produce results. We pan back now to the city centre. You can see over about 30,000 spectators out there on the course cheering these athletes on. Kocise is the second biggest city in the Slovakian Republic with over 300,000 people, and I think that most of them are coming out to enjoy not only the sunshine but a great sporting event here today. Just a few seconds now away from the start. The announcer introducing some of the athletes to the crowd. And they're away. 145 athletes are now streaking out from the start line. And the course, a shade over 13 miles, 21 kilometres, now stretching out before these athletes. And you can see they are really going for it. The pack has already broken up. The pace already too hot for some of these athletes. You can see, even after the first few hundred yards, some of the athletes are tailed off already. And now, some 8 minutes into the race, the Kenyans are up there in the front, as we expected. Going pretty well. Conditions perfect. The course very, very flat. And Ramallah there of South Africa taking them through at a very respectable pace. We'll have to wait and see though whether this early rhythm that they're putting down is going to take its toll on some of the athletes. Spreading right across the central road here. The course doesn't really go up and down too much. I think it's about a 200-metre rise and fall. It's an out and back course, as all these championships have to be. And you can see the Kenyans up there dominating the front pack, as it were, in the green vests. Baldini, you can just see of Italy, just in there, just behind them. Then Tanui, Correria, also up in that lead pack. Chalanga, also there. But there's been no breaks so far, and I'm not surprised, because this is going to be a pretty fast race, I think. They've all said that they like the course. It's fairly flat. Road surface is perfect, very smooth, not going to cause any problems to them. The camber is good. And I think if that's the case, we should see some fireworks here as the athletes check each other and jostle for positions. Prize money also on offer for this race for the first time, and that's a big incentive to some of these athletes. $40,000 to the winner, then $20,000, $15,000 going all the way down to 6th place with $5,000. So a lot up for grabs, and I'm sure that these athletes will want to make sure they're in the prize money at the end of the day. But what a stranglehold Kenya has had on this event. As I said before, they've dominated the event from 1992. They won all of the team titles up until last year, and it was only a great performance from the Italian team that took that title away from them. They're now at the 4-kilometer mark. You can see in the graphic a little over 11 minutes, so they are moving pretty fast, hugging the bend there. Some of the athletes just going off the surface onto the grass area there. Ramala from South Africa, who's been doing most of the leading, seems to be quite happy to do that as the pace car leads them up. A slight incline now, but you can see but just behind them the numbers from 79, 80, and in the early 80s of the Kenyan team spread across that road, quite happy to bide their time. They're just be coming up now, I think, to about the 5-kilometer mark. And this will be the first chance that the athletes have as they turn this corner, I think, to grab some form of liquid refreshment. Although at this sort of pace, I think they'll find it very difficult to keep the drinks down. Looking around now at some of the Great Britain athletes there, 52 and 53. Chilton and Hudspeth packing well, but some way back from the leading group. Again, no change at the front of the field. The pace is relentless, though. This is very fast indeed. And we should see a time around about 14:15, maybe 14:20 at the 5K, which will give them a 10K split if they keep the rhythm going of about 28:30. And if anybody understands that sort of pace, it really does equate to something like about a 60-minute half marathon, and that's exceptional running. It really is. I'll be very surprised if we see any of the athletes going under 60 minutes in a competitive race like the World Championships, but it is possible. '78 there. Nara of Japan also keeping his head amongst the leading group. Ramala now just losing the lead to one of the Kenyans there, Tanui, who decided that the pace was slacking a little bit and is pushing it on. The SZ logo there, one of the main sponsors of this race. And they're coming up now to the 5K feeding stations. And it'd be interesting to see which athletes take it or which athletes decide to go on and push it hard. Obviously the half marathon, hydration not as important as the marathon, but some of these athletes at this sort of pace will be suffering severely towards the end because the conditions are quite warm out there. As I said, 14 or 15 degrees is moderate by European climates, but running at this pace they're going to get very hot indeed. Quite a tough little course here. It switchbacks around some of the smaller roads before going out to the main city centre and some of the surrounding countryside. But we now go back to the start of the women's race. Women now just lining up, move to the line, starting some 15 minutes after the men. And 110 women now have the same job as the men, tackling this 13 miles of tarmac in front of them. Alana Mayer there, number 64. And there's the leading performances this year. The Rupee of Kenya in front, but look behind her. Another 3 Kenyans packing it in there in 4th, 5th and 6th positions in terms of the world's fastest time. And this is the first time that the Kenyan women are entering the World Half Marathon Championships, but it's not the first time that the men are, and now you see the graphic of the lead men. Chenge, Chariot, Tanui, Chalanga and Koriria are moving on. What a marvellous team performance this. They're almost taking it by the scruff of the neck, pouring it on in front of everybody. It's just a question of whether the rest of the world can respond to this sort of relentless pace. Looking around, checking one another. More hits there of Belgium, number 6. Kocise, 113 is in there. 112 we've seen before. Ramala, he's just behind from South Africa. 42 is a Sefa from Ethiopia. He's hanging in tough. There he is, just in the middle of our picture now, just splitting up the Kenyans. Thies on the inside there. South Africa packing well, but they're going to have a tough job breaking this Kenyan stranglehold at the moment. Behind you can see the athletes still running quite well. Nara from Japan also in the middle of our picture there in the white vest. Heading out of the city centre now to the outskirts. Well, there's one thing the Kenyans love doing, is to lead races. And as we switch from the men back to the women, you can see now that it really is going to be a tussle, because the Romanians have dominated this race much in the same way that the Kenyan men have. But this time they're up against it, because the Kenyan women have got a very strong team indeed. Number 34 just leading them through. Catherine Dore there from Germany. You can see from the graphic that they're about the 4th kilometre. You can see the way that the course bends backwards and forwards there. Alana Meyer just passed through the picture. 36. Vasulik of Germany, making up the numbers for the German team. And it is all about keeping going, because points are vital. 3 to score for the team. Although other athletes are entered, you've got to be in that first 3. And the time is totaled up, and the team with the less time wins the overall World Championship team event. Back at the head of the field, Dore is still working hard. The lead car pulling them through. Alana Meyer there, South Africa, to the right of our picture, number 64. And just behind her, the 3 Kenyan women, menacingly looking very strong at this particular stage of the race. You can hear there, I think, the way that some of these athletes are suffering already. And they're coming through now. Let's just have a quick look through the numbers here. Petrova there, 67 of Russia. Alana Meyer, as I pointed out, number 64 there in the picture. 34 is Katrina Dore of Germany. We've seen her leading them through. The Rupee is in there. And they're moving at pretty respectable pace. Romania's also doing well. Simone, Dakuta and Pamachu also packing well in that group. So the Romanians are doing well. And I think they're going to have to watch out, though, because the Kenyan women look at the moment as if they've got the upper hand as they come through, like the men, to the 5K feeding station. And it looks as if Alana Meyer of South Africa is leading them through. Making their way across now. Grab much needed refreshment. Alana Meyer there, number 52. Just taking a quick drink. Take the route. And there they are at the 5 kilometre mark on the course. About a quarter of the way through the race now for the women. And Alana Meyer takes that corner, and there's the split for the 5K. And as we switch back quickly now to the men, you can see now Moses Tanui of Kenya is leading them through, and it's just picked up somewhat. The pace very, very fast now, and splitting the men up. 4 Kenyans up front, a marvellous performance from them. They really are striding away here. A war of attrition, really. Who can last? It's not been tactics. It's not going to be down to a sprint this. This is about the strong men of the event. Moses Tanui there, the holder of the world's best performance in Milan, as we saw earlier, is obviously out to make that sort of quality pay. Even the other Kenyans, number 82 there, Kariria, Chariot, are suffering as this man makes his bid, I think. 33 minutes into this race. And they're at the moment, they keep this rhythm going. They're on a very, very respectable time indeed. I mean, you don't know whether they're going to keep it going, but if they do, it could be under the hour. And in a competition like the World Championships, that is some running. Ramala just hanging in there behind the Kenyans from South Africa. More hit of Belgium also there, number 6. As they spread out again across the road. Bunching up again as maybe the pace of Tanui just drops a little bit, giving the others a bit of a breather as they take the right-hand corner now. Marvellous support from the crowd here in Kocise. As I said earlier, it hosts the Peace Marathon, and it has done since the 1920s. So they're used to distance running here in the city, and I don't think they've seen anything like this before. This is really world-class performances now, as the Kenyans pile it on. They really are. Abraham Asifa, I think it is there, that's trying to close the gap on Moses Tanui. That $40,000 first prize money must be an incentive, and I wonder if it boils down to the 4 Kenyans, whether they'll decide to split the prize money or whether it will be a race. I think that the Kenyans will probably want to make it a race, although at the moment they seem to be doing exceptionally well. Just behind Kenyans, I just see the other Ethiopian, Alemehu. So there's 2 Ethiopians in that lead group and 3 Kenyans. Moses Tanui really is laying it down here in this World Half Marathon Championships. More hits. Number 6 just on the inside there from Belgium, the Moroccan athlete now living over there. And there's the lead list. Tanui, Chariot, Kariria, Asifa and more hits. And they're splitting up a bit. They're jockeying for positions here as Tanui decides he's had enough. He's looking around to see if some of his teammates can help him out. And that was, I think, a concerted effort from this man. Whether his other compatriots want to help him out, I don't know. They're actually slowing down. As they slow down, the other athletes are gaining some impetus from that and bunching up. Looking around, you can see there 113, Kocise of South Africa. Looking perhaps for his teammate, and his teammate's just behind him. They're running very well, the South Africans. Ramala is just tucked in behind these lead Kenyans. But what a task it must be to try and hang on to this searing pace that's being set. You can see the blue line that they're all following. And I think now it's getting to the crunch stage of this half marathon, as Tanui decides to switch across, follow the blue line and take the shortest route round the next bend. They're at the 14-kilometre mark now. Just a shade over 6 kilometres to go before they reach the finish. All the hard work is now starting to take its toll. As the lead car zooms off into the distance, you can see the sort of pace that these athletes are running at. Beautiful course here. Look how flat it is. perfect running conditions if you like it. And the way that these Kenyans are running, I think you can safely say they like it very much indeed. They're running at about 28:30 for 10k now, and they're putting 2 of those back to back. The sort of running that very few world-class athletes can live with. These World Half Marathon Championships, the combination of the IAAF's marvellous year really. We've had the World Indoors in Paris, the World Championships in Athens, the World Cross Country in Turin, the Race Walking Cup in Pobrady, and the Grand Prix final in Fukuoka. And now this, the last event in the IAAF calendar, the World Half Marathon Championships. Overhead, the helicopter following the lead group, which is now down to 6 men. Moses Tanui leading them through. There they are. Kocise, Moorhit of Belgium, Chariot, Kariria and Asefa. And that group now is pulling away from the rest of the field, and the Kenyans are starting to look around. Moses Tanui looks across at his teammate there, Kariria, as if to say, it's your turn to lead. And his other teammate comes up, Chariot of Kenya. But the South Africans are also running well. 1:13, Kocise is not letting the Kenyan, I should say, domination take its toll on him. Looking very comfortable on the inside there. Coming up now just to 42 minutes. And if they break the hour, that means there's just 18 minutes of running left. So even though it's been searing pace, it could boil down to a sprint at the end. Well, that would be quite remarkable. If you're running at this sort of pace in any other event in the world, you'd be miles ahead of everybody else. But now we've got 6 men running together. The crowd here are being treated to some wonderful distance running. Kocise, I think, will be proud of this performance today from these athletes. The host city. And there's the first group, a 5-second gap between them and the second group, but I think really it's more than that psychologically, because this group now is going away. Alamay, who it was, who's just chasing the group. You can just see him there at the back of the picture, but he's going backwards really. He's not catching them up. Look at the course behind. Absolutely perfect running conditions here. Flat as a pancake. An out and back course which has only risen 200 meters throughout the whole of the half marathon distance, which is nothing really when you consider that. So it's virtually a flat course all the way. A few bends here and there going around the city centre, but no hills to think of, and there's been no problem to these athletes really. What must be going through these athletes' minds now as they start jockeying for positions? Prize money is very big, as I said before. $40,000 to the first place. Tanui starts looking across all the time at his teammates. At the moment, I think you can safely say that Kenya have got the team title locked up if these three keep going to the finish, and I can't see any reason why they shouldn't. South Africa also look as if they've done very well. If they've got a supportive member somewhere back, then they may be in second place in the team. The athletes coming past some of their team coaches. You can hear them cheering them on. This is a decisive point of the race. Take the bend there. Coming up now to 48 minutes into this race. Maybe 12 minutes or so left. And there's still this group of 6 athletes running together. Locked together really from the word go. Another burst this time. Tanui trying again to break the rest of them. Has he succeeded? Tanui, who won the World 10,000 metre championships on the track in Tokyo. No mean performer when it comes to speed, but has he got the strength in his legs now to break the rest of them? He's trying hard, and it does seem to be having some effect. Tanui maybe thinks he can't leave it to a sprint. In doing so, he's trying now to break the spirit of the other athletes, and I think he's doing it. Number 6, more hit behind him, looks as if he's suffering, so too. 1-1-2. Ramala of South Africa also seems to be struggling a bit here. They're not taking any fluids on now. No time for that. It's down to the wire now. Pace again, slackening. Tanui looks across now at his teammate. Kariria. And the only damage he's done really is to drop his other teammate off the back of that pack. Chariot, who's just some 5 meters or so adrift of these 5. "50 minutes now into this race." What a fabulous performance from the Kenyans, taking the race by the scruff of the neck, as they always do in distance races. This is the only way they like to run. There you see the speed that they're running now. Pace car sometimes gives you a deceptive feeling of the rhythm of these athletes. When you get up close, you can actually see the way that the background is moving past behind them and really appreciate the speed and effort that's going into this. Very, very rarely do you ever see a half marathon run in about 61 minutes, and these athletes now must be running close to 60 minutes. If they break it today here in the World Championships, a marvellous performance. It really has. It's never been done in the World Championships before. Times of 61 and 60 minutes have been the norm. There you are, the 15-kilometre times. Piece there, leading through. Out of the 6 previous championships, Kenyan men have won it twice. But they've won the team title 4 times. Now the group is down to 4. Kariria now seems to be the stronger of the 2 Kenyans as he starts making his bid now for the line. Tanui is hanging tough just behind him. Number 6, Moorhit, is also there in 3rd position. And 4th at the moment, Henrik Ramala of South Africa is slightly tensing up. You feel that he's maybe just struggling just a little bit now as we come to the last few minutes of this race. Tanui, Kariria, Moorhit and Ramala just being shown in our graphic there. Coming through the suburbs now before coming in to the last stretch, and look at this, the city centre. The people have flocked to see this marvellous event. As the camera pans back, you can see the athletes now coming very, very close to the finish. And this is the women's race now. Group A now is pushing it on. 38 minutes 29 for their race. Remember, they started 15 minutes after the men, but she really is pushing on. Nowhere near the same sort of race as the men's race. This is an individual effort really from this woman. And Alana Meyer, the other threat, is nowhere to be seen at the moment. Kumachu just behind her. Simone, the two Romanians running well. And Chepchumba of Kenya it was, the announcer said, the second Kenyan women. So Romania and Kenya in a battle royal in the women's race. But as we come back to the men again, positions have changed. We now have 5 in the lead group. The other Kenyan has pulled himself back. Chariot has decided that he wants some of the action. And although he was some 5 or 6 meters back when we last left, he's come back into the group. So there's the Kenyan team. Chariot, Tanui and Kariria, 1, 2 and 3 at the moment. Flanked either side there by Maramala and Mohit. So I think you can safely say, barring accidents, that the Kenyans have won yet again the World Half Marathon team title, but what order will they take, if any, in the medal placings? The crowd's now starting to thicken out, with maybe a shade under 5 minutes to the finish. It's going to boil down to really who's got a sprint at this rate. Ramala of South Africa has come back really, stiffened up a little bit, but now looking quite relaxed. Chariot of Kenya it is that is just slightly ahead of number 82, Kariria. Just behind them, Mohit of Belgium. Remember, just not the title at stake here today. There's a lot of prize money, 40,000 for the first, 20,000 for the second, so that's a £20,000 drop if you just finish behind the winner. 15,000 for third, 10, 7 and 5 after that. So not only just pride, but an awful lot of financial gain for these athletes, depending on where they finish. They really are locked together here. And this is a bid really from Ramala, who I thought at one stage had lost the game. He's now really piling it on, but he's looking over his shoulder at the same time. 20 kilometers now, really is down to the last 2 or 3 minutes of the race. Was that a little bit too early? And I think it was, because the Kenyans have responded yet again. And now it's down to the line. The 3 Kenyans are working extremely hard now. And it's up into sprint mode. 82, Shem Koriria is pulling away. The head is high, and I think he knows he's going to get it. He's coming home to a fabulous time. It's going to be under 60 minutes, and that's going to be absolutely marvellous in these conditions in a World Championships. Piling it on now. Just behind him, 83, Moses Tanui is really trying to catch his teammate, but I don't think he's going to do it. Kenya 1, 2 and 3, a marvellous performance from them. They've led from gun to tape now. And this man, Shem Koriria, is going to take the title. And he's going to be under 60 minutes. What a fantastic performance. 59.56. And I wouldn't be surprised if the second Kenyan there, Moses Tanui, was under the 60-minute barrier as well. Well, sparkling performances from the Kenyans yet again. 2 men under 60 minutes for the half marathon in a World Championship performance. Fabulous. And as the winner now gets taken through to some much-deserved shade and relaxation, we reflect on there the dominance of the Kenyans, 1, 2 and 3. Kariria, Tanui and Chariot. Well, he hardly looks out of breath, does he? One of the fastest times we've ever seen in the world. And those two performances from the Kenyans mean that Kenya now has the first 5 of the world's fastest times at half marathon. That was Chengi there of Kenya just coming home, the 4th Kenyan, would you believe, in 10th place. So they had 4 in the first 10, Kenya. 81 there, Chariot. It looks quite fresh even now. 33, Kocise of the Czech Republic coming through. Gomez coming through, one of the favourites before this race, but struggling in this sort of competition. Number 39, Serrano, the other Spaniard coming through, so they're doing very well in the team positions. And you can see now how the rest of the field are strung out. And this sort of performance, 62 minutes, is no mean performance really. This would win most half marathons anywhere else in the world. And these athletes are finding themselves back in 30th or 40th positions. The caliber really is superb. 126. Just being led through there. That's Stefko, who was the big hope really, the local favourite from the Slovak Republic. He's finished in 29th position. Well, I think it's pretty clear that the Kenyans have won the team event. It'd be interesting to find out who was 2nd and 3rd in the team events. As Stefko finds it all too much really today. Looks like he's suffering from some form of stitch there. There it is, the winning time, 59.56 for Korea. Tanui did get under 60 minutes, 59.58, and exactly 1 hour for Chariot. 3 Kenyans, 1, 2 and 3. Marvellous performance. And still they come through the finish line. Spread out now some 4 minutes after the leader. Some of these athletes now could be making the decision for their teams. So it's all important that they keep going. Marvellous reception from the crowd here in the city centre. Some 30,000 people or so out there on the streets, clapping these athletes home. Well, the team positions are pretty clear for the winners anyway. Kenya running exceptionally well. 1, 2, 3, you can't ask more than that. Behind them it was pretty close. South Africa came home in 2nd place, and really when you consider that their 3rd man was in 42nd place, a marvellous performance from them. Ethiopia just behind in 3rd. There you have confirmation of that result. Marvellous performance from the Kenyans. We can't emphasise it enough. Winning by over 4 minutes. Back in the women's race, domination really by this woman, Tegla Lerup. She's some 100 or 150 metres clear of Pumaciu of Romania. But the real interesting thing is that the Romanians are having a battle royal with the Kenyan women. Romania at the moment are in 2nd and 3rd position, and Kenya are 1st and 4th. It's all really going to be determined on their 3rd runners coming in for the team points. But the Rupi has led from about 15 kilometres on, and she's piled it on. Pumaciu has been closing the gap, and you can see the Rupi sometimes looks over her shoulders to see if the gap is closing, and it is slightly, but not enough, I don't think. She's keeping the rhythm going. 6th in the Olympics at 10,000 metres. She's got the speed in the legs. She now just has to keep working towards that finish line. And if she does, she can take home not only the title, but the $40,000 paycheck for winning the race. You can see now the gap between her and Pumaciu of Romania. It's some 200 metres or so. She's running really smoothly. Looking all the time, though, she must be tiring. Cristina Pumaciu in the yellow and red strip of Romania is also well clear of the 3rd woman. These athletes really running a lonely race compared to the men, where we saw really a group of 5 or 6 almost up until the last kilometre or so. Women now, the gaps of about half a minute between the leader, Lerup, and this woman, Pumaciu, and then about a minute or so between her and her teammate, Simone. who's not even in the picture at the moment as the lead car rushes back to Tegla Larupi. And there you see the gap, 17 seconds between the leader and Pumachu in second place. And it's a long time on a motorbike. It must be even longer if you're looking ahead, trying to close the gap. And here she is. Well, Kenya, 1, 2, 3 in the men's. It won't be the same in the women's. Romania have split them up. But they're going to win again here with Tegla Larup coming into the city centre, and the crowd now there you have the 20-kilometre time, 64 minutes plus. She's running exceptionally well again. The Kenyan team has trained and aimed for this particular event all through the summer, I think, saving themselves to produce the goods here at the World Half Marathon Championships. There's the graphic, 20 kilometres, just over a kilometre to go. And I don't think this woman is going to show any signs of tiring, really. You can see there the red surface for the last kilometre or so. Beautifully relaxed, head still high, legs, cadence, everything working well. And this again, like the men, could be a championship best performance if she keeps it going. Kariria's masterful time of 59.56 in winning the men's was a championship best. And if Tegla Larupi keeps this going and gets a time round about 69 minutes, that will also be a championship best. But the real intriguing question is who will win the women's team title. Larupi's got first place. And on our last look back, we saw that the Romanians were packing hard just behind. Whether they are still there or not, and here's confirmation that they are. Romania at the moment are in second and equal third with Chepchumba and Simone. So, Romania and Kenya still to decide the team position. But Tegla Larup now is closing down the last few metres of this half marathon to the support of the local crowd. And I must admit, the men's result now and the women's result have been a marvellous sporting occasion here in Kocise. We've seen some of the fastest times ever in the men's event, and I think this is going to be one of the fastest times we've ever seen for a woman as well, because she really has stormed from about the 15-kilometre mark. Pumachu of Romania tried to hold her, but she lost ground and is losing ground all the time. As the crowd thicken, you can see she's coming up now to the finish. It most certainly is going to be a championship best performance. It's going to be well under 69 minutes. She's raising her game yet again. Picking the rhythm up. Just behind, you see, Pumachu has closed a little bit. But the gap there of, 200 metres has been the same for the last 5K. And Tegla Larup will now see the finish line just in front of her. The last few 100 metres or so. Sprinting yet again. Here it is, the finish line. Tegla Larup becomes the new women's half marathon world champion with a marvellous time of 1 minute 8:14. She got well under 69 minutes in the end. A marvellous championship best performance. She looks very, very pleased, and well, she should be. There's confirmation of that result. We look back now as Christina Pumachu, who has been chasing all the time, comes through the line in second place. She goes across to congratulate Larupi. These two had a battle royal, really. And now they look back, because this is the question that everybody has been asking. Where are the other team members? Lydia Simone it is now, who comes in third for Romania, but just behind her, Chepchumba is in fourth. So, 1 and 4 for Kenya, but 2 and 3 for Romania. The announcer's saying it all really. Who is going to be next? Or who is going to be the next Kenyan or Romanian? And it looks as if it's going to be a Romanian. Number 59, Netu Alaro comes home, and I think that may just snatch the team title for Romania. But it's going to be close. It's done on time, don't forget, not positions. A cumulative time of the 3 athletes added up. Alaro was some way back, and the others were so close. And here, I think, is the third Kenyan. Kameo, not that far behind either. There's the result. Rupe, Pamachu and Simone 1, 2 and 3. No question about that. But the team result is going to be a nail-biter. Romania's also coming in here now. Takuta. Buia coming home strong, but they're not the deciding factors. Well, the Kenyan women now sit and wait to see how close it is going to be. After the Kenyan men won the team convincingly, they're going to have to wait a little bit more to find out whether they have done the same job. But they haven't. Romania has snatched it by the narrowest of margins, just 17 seconds between them and the Kenyan team. Japan in third. The medal ceremony now for the men's event. Shem Koriria steps onto the podium and receives the medal from Dr. Primo Nebbiolo, President of the IAAF. A familiar sight, Kenya yet again on the winner's rostrum. The winning time, a championship best performance, 59.56. And in second place, Moses Tanui, just 2 seconds behind, pushed all the way. Run one of the fastest times in the world, but still had to settle for second place. And to finish off, a marvellous Kenyan performance. In third place, Kenneth Chariot. Takes a bow and takes the applause. The Kenyans led virtually from gun to tape, jostling between themselves as to who was going to get the medals. Gold, silver and bronze goes to Kenya. And in the women's event, Tegla Larupi. Kenya again take the victory rostrum. She led from 15 kilometers on. And although she was pushed, she really was in control. In second place, Christina Pumaciu tried hard, but she just couldn't claw that 200 meters back. And in third, Lydia Simon of Romania. Romanians packing well in the women's event. Congratulations exchanged from all the athletes. The Kenyan men victorious again. 5 out of 6 championships. South Africa in second. And Ethiopia take third. The women's team, an emotional affair for Romania. They win yet again, 5 out of 5 performances in the last 5 years. The Kenyans tried hard, but were just behind, and the Japanese take the bronze. We've seen some fantastic sport here in Kocise, Slovakia, and I say farewell from me, Steve Abet.